Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen, so what I wanted to do, and thank you for all for being on this webinar, but I thought this might be the easiest way for me to kind of go through the presentation on how we do these projects with our crowdfunding. We've been doing this for about 6 months with our website. Let me show you the website here. This is the website that we are using to fund some of our properties and investments with our associates. You can see this is the property we're looking at today, 160 Red Rock in Basalt. You can go to the crowdfunding site and take a look if you'd like. But to start right off, the project proposal package that I share with everyone, as you know, comes in these Google Drives. You have your fisheye pictures, you have everything in here, your appraisal, your proposal, the documents for the Colorado Group 4, which is the limited liability company, which will be owner of this particular property. You have your assessor records, pictures, videos, etc. I do a whiteboard as well, which I just started on today, but it has a schedule of events. So it'll take us up through A side closing, and then of course through renovations, and then B side sale. I think we're all familiar with the video proposal. I think you've seen the walkthrough, the auction, and then of course the valuation video, which we kind of do an overview market through the MLS. Has anybody had any questions? Or Keith, did you have any questions regarding the proposal thus far? Were you able to review it? Was it user friendly?
Yeah, I reviewed it. It wasn't a problem.
Okay, good. Was it? Did it provide all the information you wanted, just as far as an executive summary is concerned?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Well, there's that. Of course, in the proposal, we had our an outline of the profit share, equity ownership interest, and then an example in there so that everybody can get an idea of if I put in $10, how much am I getting out, right? The appraisal, were you able to review that, Keith?
I did not see that. Nope.
Didn't get through the appraisal. Okay, well we can do that now briefly here.
I just looked at all of your other numbers.
But yeah, the appraisal came in at 2.5 pretty comfortably. The best comp is literally next door. It's a little bigger, but not quite the finishes. A little lesser as far as the construct, but definitely the location. You can't get any closer than a stone's throw away. So that's in your package for you. You have their video valuation there also. Did you do the video valuation at all, Keith?
Nope.
Did you click on that? Okay, well, you might want to do this. You can click on this here on the valuation video, and it'll take you right in, and I walk you through about 160 Red Rock some of the neighboring properties. Sorry to double up on you there, but I'll walk you through closed, actives, pendings, and I literally walk you through the market. So that might be a benefit to you just because you're from out of town. I find it really handy, but there again, there for your review.
Okay.
So that's handy. And then, of course, the budget. This is our budget. It's $97,000. Some of the bigger costs are the smart home applications. So all the speakers and basically the iPads, and then the Brio, which we were talking about. The Brio is the skip trowel finish. So instead of painting the walls, it's all Brio throughout. So that's a big part of the renovations, along with the exterior. It's all barnwood. So it's just a lot of deferred maintenance. We're looking at being in and out of this property within 4 weeks. The roof, the Brio, the finishes, polish, refinishing the floors, appliances, etc., and then some of that ceramic tile. But did you get a good idea just from the executive summary and scope of work there on what we're doing as far as renovations? And are you comfortable with that? Keith?
I thought it looked good.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what are you just gonna clean up the outside?
Yeah, so the scope of work here, just that's obviously really summarized, broken down. But mainly, yes, it's deferred maintenance. Some of the big items, of course, the landscaping on the exterior, the Brio on the interior, Brio carpet, in the ceramic tile and the updated appliances. So it should be in and out pretty quick. We're going to shoot for 3 weeks and then end up at 4, which brings us to the marketing. We should be marketing this property, hopefully first or second week of June. And we have 2 interested parties currently. The gentleman who owns or who is brokering the property, Tom DeMarcurio of Mercury Real Estate, as a local lawyer and a couple out of San Francisco looking at this property. So, we're going to do an exclusivity with those 2 buyers, and then we'll market it with the gentleman, Bob Langley, here potentially locally, and or with the help of your wife, Annette. So hopefully we can hit that really hard with the marketing. But basically we'll do a professional video, hit all the ads for about 2 weeks before the open house and completion. And then upon completion, we'll take highest best offer and just kind of go from there. We just hope to sell it literally upon that open house. But this is our marketing plan. So list and market the property right after completion. We'll campaign hard 2 weeks upcoming to the open house. And then we'll call all the brokers, including Tom, who has the 2 potential buyers, and just let them know what property's coming up, the renovation's completed, and send them a copy of the video, and then invite them to the open house, and then hopefully have a full price offer and have it sold at $2.499. Now that takes me into any questions thus far as marketing or renovations? Keith?
No, I think that looks good. I read through that.
All kind of makes sense, and kind of hit them hard, hit them fast. That's our buying season. So the interest we have there, I say we just get in and out of this thing. We'll stage it to the 9s. That is the other thing. We'll market for about throw about $10,000 in marketing at it, stage it, thoroughly, and then that takes us into the addendum. So how we place our security with our owners, our investors. In this case, it's $5,000 per 1% ownership interest for cash contributions. And this addendum goes with the operating agreement that I was discussing with you last week. So the operating agreement states, how everybody's getting paid, the management of the company, which is just for the property, right? The renovation and flip of the property. We'll go through that next, but this is addendum A. So this is how it would look, something like this. Ownership interest, 100,000. So 20% ownership interest would be, for me, for you, if you did 30,000, you'd have 6% ownership interest. I think that all kind of makes sense. It's signed and notarized. You keep the original copies. Same thing with AJ and Mike. I know Michael's on a computer that doesn't have a microphone, but hopefully that all makes sense there. And then we go into the operating agreement, which everybody has a copy of. And this limited liability company, it'll state, how everybody's paid out. So I've highlighted in yellow a couple of the items I'd like to review. But this is for purpose of the company created for the following business purpose. It's to fix and flip Red Rock Road and Basalt. Okay, we do one property per LLC, just like any good business plan. Keep it simple. And then the addendum for ownership interest, that's what we just went over. That's cash contribution for the percentage of ownership interest. And then this outlines, of course, how we're paid. Ownership interest split between managers and silent owners. The silent owners don't have any liabilities. Contributions might fluctuate for instance, if our renovations went to $120,000 instead of $97,000, well, then we might have a fluctuation there. The limited liability of the members, debts, liabilities, obligations are all prospective, right, to initial contribution. And the member manager is liable, of course, for the day-to-day responsibilities. Going through, I'm sorry, it's a lot, of course, being an operating agreement, but I wanted to do some of the highlighted material so that you're real clear on how we're operating. Then, of course, the managing member will be responsible. We just kind of reviewed this, the day-to-day obligations and liabilities. he's the only one or she's the only one that can sign on the company's behalf, or just to keep it simple, so there's not too many cooks in the kitchen, as they say. And then, of course, Carol Seneschal, she's my executive agent. She's with Well Balanced Financial, and she's been working with all of these different liability companies, to maintain their integrity through taxes, etc. And then this is the most important part, ladies and gentlemen. So the distributions shall be issued when agreed by the members, which is the sale of the subject property. The distribution shall not exceed the remaining net cash. So, of course, the net profits, so after closing costs, commissions, closing costs, and the payoff of the deed of trust, which is the first position loan, those will be the net profits. Those will be paid out exactly as per ownership interest. Does that make sense, Keith?
Yep.
Just like we talked about. It's laid out here, I think, pretty clear. This is the operating agreement we've used for the last, dozen or so LLCs. Pays out well. We've been using the same title company and the same closing agent for years now. That's Tina at Unified Title. She was with Canyon Title for years and years, and now she's at Unified, so we transferred our business over to Unified Title. But that's the operating agreement. Everybody has a copy of this, of course, signed, dated, and then the attachment is the addendum A with the ownership interest. Is there any questions there?
No, just to let you know, I spell my name different, but it's K-I-E versus K-E-I. But
Oh,
just
I'm
make
sorry.
sure
That's
it. Not quite.
not quite there. Well, and here it is, though. So funds will go to escrow, right, at Unified Title. Attention, Tina Bonham. And then there's their location. That's where we've been doing all of our closings. It was over at Canyon off Auraria for years. Now we're over here. Unified Title, this is the company we use. Then, of course, after closing, we're going through renovations. Since this is your first time with us, some of our other investors are familiar, but what we do is weekly updates. So every Sunday or Friday, sometime between Friday and Monday, we make sure if someone gets out there, they can take a video, either my project manager or myself, and we do a complete video and an overview of the project, how far along it is, how well it's coming along, and if there's any recent sales in the marketplace, anything that is of note. But mainly, hey, where are we at on the project? When can we get it marketed and sold? Who's interested in the project? Okay, so those videos and those updates come to your email every week, once a week, until it's sold and down the road, as they say. So any questions thus far? Is that all pretty clear?
Yeah. Do you have any type of a interior decorator that helps decide on the finishes?
We do. It's usually, like your wife, we usually work with a broker and a stager, a local staging company. So,
Okay.
yeah, to make sure that we're, to the nines, as they say, with the area. And with this kind of a rustic ranch, you definitely want to stage it out, probably with some, I imagine, I'm the builder, not the stager, but they'll probably put in, I imagine, some older, more rustic type furnishings, but I could be wrong.
Okay.
Yes, it will be staged to the nines, and then at the end, of course, everybody is, put on the payout is on the settlement sheet. So everybody's paid out as per settlement sheet. So Todd Proffit would be on here, Keith Heil would be on here, and then our payoff. Obviously, the principal, everything that was agreed on the addendum. So the principal plus the ownership, the interest plus the ownership interest. So in my case, it's just the 20%. In your case, it'd be 6% ownership interest plus, of course, 12% on top of the principal, right? So it'd be your principal, $30,000 plus 12%. And if it went for 90 days, then of course that'd be 90 days at 12% annualized interest and then the profit share. So everybody participating in the profit is the end. Everybody participating, obviously, as a debt partner gets paid before the net profit share. And that's paid, like I said, on the settlement. So we review the HUD with Tina, at closing, at B-side sale of the property. Your name would be on there, Keith Heil, $30,000 plus 3 months interest at 12%, plus the net profit share of, $36,000 or whatever it is, for a total payoff, $67,000 and change. And then you provide your wiring instructions for her to wire it directly into your account. So you wire into their account at Unified Title, and they wire you out at B-side sale. Any questions?
Nope.
All right. I feel like I talked 100 miles an hour. I hope that wasn't wasn't too fast, but I feel like that's everything I had to say. Please, if you have any questions for me, let me know. Otherwise, what I'll do is I'll be sending you the package, which you already have, but then I will send you your specific addendum. So what I do now is I send out the addendum with your contribution, and then I sign it as the managing member. I have it notarized, and you keep those original documents, along with the operating agreement, which is the structure of the payoff at the end. You keep those documents. Also, a copy of those documents goes to Tina, of course, at Unified Title, and then you wire those funds into escrow as soon as we are ready to move forward and everybody's comfortable to move forward. Now, as far as moving forward, the biggest key for us is to make sure that we have a first position deed of trust. The gentleman who had this property, I think I was telling you, had an aneurysm. So we reached out to a couple of other lenders, and we have 2 interested lenders. Now we're just working on specifics. So I'll know that by tomorrow, but I will not take any commitments until tomorrow, just because I want to make sure everything's in place before we move forward. So 10 o'clock tomorrow, I'll let you know exactly where we're at. And then there's a few other people on this call who want to invest or on this webinar that want to invest. We'll make that decision at that time, and then everybody can make their contributions as they see fit. Sound good?
Yep.
Okay, so 10 o'clock tomorrow. I will send everybody copies of their documents today, so they will be ready and prepared. And then if we're moving forward, we'll do that tomorrow at 10 a.m.
Okay, and when you send that, then after we get those docs, then we will need to wire the money.
So yeah, I'll send out the documents today so that you have them. You'll have a copy of the original. I'm going to notarize and sign today. You won't have the copies until we meet, and I hand the originals to you, but you'll have copies of the original. And then you won't wire, though, until tomorrow at 10 a.m. once I have the entire package completed. The reason for that is I want to make sure our deed of trust is in place before everybody wires money into Tina's account at Unified Title. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So tomorrow at 10 a.m., then I'll talk to you, and then we'll go ahead and wire funds into escrow.
Okay.
Okay, well, thank you very much. I hope that answered all your questions, and thank you very much for letting me do a webinar so that we could, simplify the system.
Okay, that sounds good.
Well, thank you very much, Keith. I'll be in touch here tomorrow, and you'll have these documents along with Michael. I'll have those documents over to you here in the next half hour or less in your inbox.
Perfect.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, Annette, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, thanks a lot.